AJ Delgado is a senior advisor for the Trump campaign, and she joins me now on set. AJ, we'll get to that investigation in a moment, but I want to start. We're learning now that Donald Trump will not be unveiling his medical records in this Dr. Oz interview that he is scheduled to do today and that will be airing tomorrow. Originally, we heard he would be unveiling medical records. Instead, now he's just talking about his medical condition. Why not unveil those records today?
Well, right now, the preliminary talk with Dr. Oz is not his medical doctor. It's not his physician. So they're just going to have a chat in general about his health. Now, when Mr. Trump decides to release those medical records, that might be tied into when Hillary Clinton decides to release those. I personally, as a supporter...
We've seen a lot of Hillary Clinton's background health-wise, though, over the years throughout, much more so than what we've seen of Donald Trump. We've just been listening in days with her pneumonia, just the background of blood clots and a variety of things that she's been treated for. So there's certainly more background there. She has released records.
All the more reason, what we've seen recently, especially this weekend, is all the more reason why the American public is clamoring for detailed medical records and why this has become an issue, specifically because of what we saw this weekend. So we've only seen a cursory overview of her medical background. We really need to see details. The American public deserves it.
And when will they get those from Donald Trump then?
I would personally like to see him release those when Hillary Clinton releases hers.
How about Donald Trump releasing them first? When will we see them from Donald Trump, irregardless of when she does?
That's up to Mr. Trump. It might be something that he discusses with Dr. Oz. We'll see in the episode.
We've heard a little bit of discussion that the medical background won't matter for somebody for president. It's part of his privacy or her privacy, whoever may be making that argument. Is that the case, or does it matter the medical condition in history?
I personally, as a voter, think it does. I think we need to know whether the commander-in-chief, whether the person who's going to lead this country has the strength and the stamina for a very, very demanding, both physically and mentally, job for 4 years. And we saw this during John McCain. The media and voters alike were shouting, listen, this is somebody who, in some ways, I remember very crude statements saying Sarah Palin was one heart attack away from the presidency. They really went after John McCain over whether he was fit enough. And that was not too long ago. The American public remembers. I guess we should use the same standard here with Hillary Clinton, perhaps.
And with Donald Trump, perhaps.
And with Donald Trump, fair enough, he has said he would release if Hillary Clinton releases. I'd like to see them both, personally, as a supporter.
Yeah, and again, some of her records are out there already. They're both in different situations because of the public lives that they have lived in. And one thing that's coming under scrutiny today, and we were just listening to the interview with Eric Schneiderman right now, the Attorney General for New York. We've heard a lot about the Clinton Foundation. Now it's the Donald Trump Foundation that's under fire. The Washington Post has been on the forefront of reporting some of the different donations that have been made that are in question at this point. How does the Trump campaign explain some of these discrepancies here, including the contribution to Pam Bondi? There's also a report of purchasing thousands of dollars worth of gear, of Tim Tebow gear, and a portrait of Donald Trump.
Well, both of those, for instance, the helmet, the Tim Tebow gear, the painting, were at charity events. So it was Trump Foundation money going towards a charity. When I read the Washington Post piece, I thought, my gosh, where's the big reveal here? The ones who have to answer, it's not really the Trump Foundation, it's the Washington Post reporter. He's already had to make 3 corrections for donations he claimed in the piece were never made. They've had to update and say, whoops, they were made.
That he was told originally that they were not made, and now that they were, and he did report that. What about the donation to Pam Bondi, to the Florida Attorney General?
That's been completely debunked. Mr. Trump and Miss Bondi have been friends for years. He's been friends with her mother for years. He's somebody who lives in Palm Beach a great deal of the time, so it makes sense that he would support the Attorney General of Florida.
But not the foundation.
The idea, the check from the foundation was a clerical error. The campaign has explained that the names were confused, so these things happen. That's okay, and they paid the fee. That's done. But as for the actual donation to Pam Bondi, it makes, a $25,000 donation. To think that Miss Bondi wouldn't have put through an investigation that she should have done. What she did was what every other Attorney General, with the exception of Eric Schneiderman, a Hillary Clinton supporter, did, which is to say there's nothing here. So the optics here are not strange for Pam Bondi. They're strange. Why is Eric Schneiderman the only Attorney General in the entire country out of 50 who saw fit to investigate Trump University and now Trump Foundation? He has an obligation not to waste taxpayers' money's time, who fund his salary and his time.
There are some who have said, though, that there is the optics that Donald Trump has talked about before, giving donations and then getting a political benefit from it. So which do we believe, that it doesn't make an impact or that it does?
I haven't seen a single donation Donald Trump has made that he got a political benefit from, or any sort of benefit. There hasn't been a single one, not in that Washington Post piece, not in anything we've seen. It's Hillary Clinton, who we constantly have seen had a pay-for-play scheme going on with the Clinton Foundation.
Actually, we've seen donations that were made for meetings. There was nothing that was given. There was not a service provided, and that has been the difference in why people have brought this up in regards to Donald Trump and that contribution of $25,000 and an actual thing that you have seen where you've gotten a benefit from it.
Well, Raj Fernando, for instance, is somebody who donated at least $1 million, some say higher, to the Clinton Foundation, and then somehow, despite being a financial services person, ends up on a national security board. How did that happen? You have the Algerians who donated money, $500,000 in 2010 to the Clinton Foundation. A year later, there's suddenly a military exports deal that's increased to Algeria. These are pretty obvious pay-for-play schemes.
The introduction yesterday of Donald Trump's child care plan, within it he has 6 weeks of maternity leave, paid maternity leave. Okay. Why not extend that to fathers as well?
Well, I think that's something we're going to look into, but there are baby steps, obviously. This is something that we want to address the wage gap for women, which tends to, as Ivanka has noted, it tends to disproportionately affect mothers, not so much women. So we're starting out looking at maternity leave. Paternity leave might be something that Mr. Trump would look into, but obviously being the sensible, economically minded, fiscally responsible person he is, let's not throw it all out there at once. It might be something he's looking into.
He had a quote at the end of speaking at one portion where he said, "My opponent has no child care plan and never will." Does the Trump campaign stand behind that statement?
Well, I think when he said no child care plan, I think he meant a feasible one that could actually be funded and will actually become law. Hillary Clinton's plan, her child care plan, is simply, we'll pay for it through some sort of more taxes on the rich.
And he has said that we will pay for it by looking at money that
unemployment insurance
fraud, which again, there's no way of saying whether or not that money would cover it. So they're both hitting each other for the same reason.
I think this is far more plausible.
Does the Trump campaign really believe she has no child care plan?
No feasible child care plan. I think that's semantics. I personally believe she has no child care plan, essentially because there's no way to really fund what she's offering.
One of the things that has been in the news today, Colin Powell, not on record, but in leaked emails, so not something that he went out there and was seeking, with some unkind words for Donald Trump. What is the campaign's response to that?
Well, he also had some unkind words about Hillary Clinton.
And we'll ask her campaign about it. The response, though,
well, we completely respect Mr. Powell's views. He's been a wonderful American with great service to the country. And to the extent he expressed some private views about Mr. Trump in private communications, that's okay.
All right. Well, we appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you.